Hi there, Sandy Freshy here, back with another video. Today we are exploring self-confidence and the will center in the human design chart. So before we do that, I just want to take a moment to remind you where we started on this journey and exploration of self-confidence. And if you haven't seen this before, this is Sandy's hierarchy of self-confidence, my hierarchy of self-confidence that I developed from some inspiration and insights that I got by looking at certain energy centers in the human design chart from a more general and collective perspective. And also with my psychology background, the Maslow hierarchy of needs sort of called this shape into being for these concepts that I'm working with. So we looked at the emotional solar plexus and the spleen center for this first level of what it takes to be self-confident. So when we did that, we explored what it meant in terms of feeling safe in the midst of change. So if you haven't seen those videos on self-confidence and the solar plexus and self-confidence in the spleen center, go back and watch those videos so that you can get the foundation of what we're talking about here. Today we're going to move up into this second level of this hierarchy. Once you feel safe in the midst of change and in the midst of all the moving energies and all the moving parts around you and in your environment and even within you, then you develop the self-assuredness where it's necessary for you to become more adept, or it's necessary for you to work with your sense of self-worth and self-love. Now, this is, like I said, a work in progress. My theory is that self-worth is related to the will center, or the will center can show us a lot about self-worth and self-confidence. And then self-love is related to the G center, which I have not worked out enough to articulate. So when I do that, I will share it. But today we're working with this self-worth piece and what the will center can show us about self-confidence from this global kind of collective perspective. So let me go ahead and share I like to be up here because it looks like I'm looking down at the body graph here. I'm sharing the will center here, which is this little red triangle, or it can be white if it's undefined on your chart, that's between the emotional solar plexus and the G center. This is the center for ego strength, for worth, for value, for willpower, all of those things. It's also the center for heart, and it's also known as the heart center. So this energy here is related to the function of the physical heart as well. So that's just a little bit of background about what the will center is about. We could actually talk about the will center in terms of self-confidence for days and days and days, maybe even years and years and years. And in terms of the hierarchy of deconditioning, which centers are the hardest to decondition, the will center is at the top of the list as probably the last center that fully gets deconditioned in your deconditioning, 7-year deconditioning process, if you're doing the full human design journey. So you can get a feel for that, right? If you are self-confident, you have this sense of strong ego, balanced and strong ego strength, this sense of self-worth and self-value. You may not have consistent willpower if your will center is undefined, but you will know how to use your power in a way that is beneficial to you in a balanced way. And that's what we're going to look at when we look at these gates here that correspond to the will center. Now, again, I want to remind you that as we're looking at this, we're not looking at what your individual chart says. That's something that you want to explore more deeply in perhaps some concentrated or in-depth courses or classes or human design reading. What we're looking at here is what these themes in these centers or in these gates, as they relate to our willpower, as they relate to the will center, what they can really show us about the correct use of power and our own sense of what we need for self-worth and self-confidence. So to be self-confident, you need two things. You need that strong sense of self-worth, which you probably intuitively already know. And this applies to you whether you're defined or undefined here. You still need that strong sense of self-worth to be self-confident. And I want to let you know and remind you really that you are worthy of all of the resources, all of the support, everything that you need to fulfill your purpose here on the planet. You are worthy because you exist, because you as a soul decided to show up in this body at this time. You are worthy of everything that supports and sustains you. So that's number one. You have a strong sense of self-worth. Number two is that you use your power in a correct way. So I've talked around that, but we're going to talk more specifically about what that means in terms of these gates that are on this will center here. So when we're self-confident, we have a relationship to each other, which can be explained or understood in the gate 26, in the gate 40, and the gate 21. All of these gates are part of the tribal circuitry, and the tribal circuitry has to do with us as a group. Traditionally, it's us as a family and us as a small group, maybe a business if you're looking at the 26, as a community if you're looking at the 40, and how we divvy up the resources in the 21 so that everyone in the group or the tribe survives and thrives. So self-confidence has a lot to do with these themes that have to do with what sustains you as a member of the group. And I want to kind of expand this out a little bit, because we're going to see how when you live the higher, more elevated, evolved aspects of these themes in these tribal gates, we are really beginning to recognize that we are one tribe, one human tribe on the planet. Now, there's one individual gate here, the 51, which I like to visualize as the one who takes the path, the energy that takes the path into one's own self-empowerment and individuality. So it's like the one who is initiated, because 51 is a gate of initiation, onto their own individual creative path and partnership with their inner spirit, and the recognition that there is something bigger than just the tribe. And usually we interpret that as something, an energy that is spiritually oriented, a higher power, if you will, an inner spirit, God, if you want to use the word God, whatever that is, that initiates you into a deeper sense of empowerment about you being a divinely created and endowed being living this human life. So I love how the tribal energy sort of cocoons or works around and stabilizes this will energy, and then there is the necessity here to take your own path and to be empowered as an individual. So let's summarize what these gates mean in terms of self-confidence. When we are self-confident, in the 51, we bring our individual creative spirit to the tribe of humanity, and then humanity is mutated by it, because individuality is about mutation. So that's that individual path. When we're self-confident in the 26, and I'll just say when you're self-confident, you recognize and come together with the people who are right for you and co-create success with them on behalf of the tribe or for the benefit of the tribe. This is about material success. This 4426 is about recognition and material success. And you do this in a way where you are living in integrity with yourself, where you're living in integrity with the highest aspects of yourself, and also in integrity with the people that you are here to be with, to work with, to co-create with. And as you come together with them, it creates an integrity all of its own, almost like a structural integrity, if you will. In the gate 40, you form strong social bonds and alliances from a place where you have the boundaries to say yes to the things that you truly have the heart for. So this is hardwired into or part of the channel of community. So this is about the social bonds, the community bonds that we create. And when you have the heart to do something, that's when you get to say yes. And when you have the heart not to do something, that's where the boundary comes in, where you need to say no. And this is what creates those strong alliances that really supports your ability to function as part of the tribe of humanity and to thrive within that social structure. So you form strong social bonds and alliances from a place where you have the boundaries to say yes to the things that you truly have the heart for. And then in the 21, you release the need to control what you have. You don't try to gain power over another, and instead you use your resources and power to support the well-being of the whole human family. So when you're really self-confident, you don't have this need to feel like you're better than or to be higher up in the hierarchy or the chain, this ego need to control the movement of other people. You don't feel threatened by and feel an overwhelming need to control your own resources and your own territory, because you recognize that you are part of the whole human tribe, and it's the well-being of the human tribe that really matters. So I hope that I've given you some insights, some things to think about as you consider self-worth. And you know, you can begin to ponder this in a way where you can ask yourself or ponder whether or not you really do feel like you have a sense of your own individual creative spirit, and how you may have had shocks and surprises along the way that would push you or enlighten you to this sense that you are not alone in the universe, that you are part of something bigger, and how you contribute to your family of the humans around you in a way that mutates and changes their lives. This 4426 has a lot to do with really letting go of the baggage of the past. You know, so what things are you holding on to from the past that you can begin to let go of so that you can see your tribe more clearly and be an influential part of that tribe from a place of integrity? In the 40, where are your social alliances? Do they really serve you? Do you have good boundaries that support you in doing truly the things that you have the heart to do? And in the 21, where are you still trying to hold on to things, to control things that you really have no control over? And what would happen if you released that control and opened your heart to include the concern for the welfare and the well-being of all of us in the human tribe? So these are things to think about, things to ponder, things to reflect upon, and as Richard Rudd says, things to contemplate. So that is it for now for self-confidence and the Will Center. I welcome your comments. I welcome your insights. And if you like this video, if you find it helpful, you're invited to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell to be notified of when I upload a new video. And if you know someone else who may benefit, you're invited to share this video. So until the next time, be well.